Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And I want to ask you something because today started out really bizarre for me. I had somebody that was rude to me. I felt that this person was rude to me. And I don't want to tell you the specifics of it because it's just not worth it. But I do want to tell you, I want to ask you when somebody is surprises you, catches you off guard and is rude to you, and you're kind of like, and it's in front of people, and you're kind of like speechless, and you don't really know how to respond, and you just navigate it the best way you know how very quickly, and then it's over. I don't know if you've been in a situation like that. Like, say you're in a meeting at work, and you're talking and somebody interrupts you and makes you look stupid, or like corners you like in front of everybody. um what is your internal reaction? Because my reaction is to hate them, to hate the person. That's my initial reaction. And this morning, I fought that. So this is what I did. My typical reaction would be, I hate you. You don't know what you're talking. Like, this is what I would be thinking. I wouldn't be saying this because I don't like conflict. I would be thinking, I hate you, and thinking everything negative I can about the person. And this morning, my reaction was more in line with my program, which is good news. And I'm kind of surprised that my reaction was that way. So my reaction was, number one, maybe this person is right, which I never ever would have thought that before I was working this program. I thought, one, because I started being angry and thinking, I hate you. And I'm like, nope, this isn't what I'm supposed to feel. So I thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. And then the second thing I thought was, I think that the way that this person interrupted and made me look stupid, was not my problem. That it's actually her problem. You know, um, I don't know if I don't want to give you the specifics of what happens, but like, if you were in a meeting and somebody did that, can you grasp like responding in that way, thinking maybe she's right, or thinking, um, the fact that she did that in front of all those people and tried to make me look stupid only made her look stupid. You know what I mean? And instead of hating her, which is what I used to react with, I felt like the number three, my reaction was to pray for her. And I did that because I learned that that's what I'm supposed to do in the program. And it did not feel like initially what I wanted to do, but it's like I immediately got to this fork in the road where I can either hate her or I can practice my program. And I went in the direction of practicing my program, and it felt better. It really did. It felt better. To the point where I was like, like, I wonder if I'm going to be able to let go of this a lot faster because I took this route instead of hating her and thinking evil things about her. And so now that the day is done, okay, so this happened at bright and early at 7 a.m. And it is now 8:30 p.m. and I'm still thinking about it. So what I can conclude is I did not let go of it, but I didn't obsess about it all day. It has been something that I've thought through all day, which is like, if this happened to you, would you think through it all day and think, oh, I should have said this, or I should have said that, or oh, I said the right thing? How did I respond? Like replaying it in my head. I did that, but not as much, I don't think, as I used to if I chose the route of just hating the person for making me look stupid or making me uncomfortable. So, anyway, just thought I'd put that out there, and I feel pretty good. I don't feel like I'm angry, but it's something that I wish I could like pose it out and I could have you guys call in and tell me how you feel about that. But that's not happening. So anyway, so here we are. And today is the Reads and Recovery episode. So we're going to be talking about, we meaning I, am going to be talking about Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. And what really stood out to me when I listened to this book, I listened to it on Audible. I thought there was a great narrator. I really enjoyed. Sometimes a narrator can really destroy a book, but this was a good one. It was a good narrator. And what stood out to me in the book, like my takeaway, was the evolution of mental health care over the years. And thank God we are where we are now, because it just does, it sounds terrible. It does. It sounds terrible. And I know that from what I hear, that mental health was not something that was talked about. Like in everything that I've heard and experienced or listened to or read over the years, mental health issues were so like hidden that people would rather say that somebody passed away than to say that they have been admitted into a asylum, or where they used to put you if you were mentally ill. And that is just so incredibly sad to me. So I want to do my best at sharing with you what I got from the book, The Bell Jar. Like, I almost feel very like afraid to share my opinion of The Bell Jar because I know that it is a classic and I don't feel like I could ever do it justice. But I'm going to try to just share, I'm no professional literary critic or anything. So keep that in mind as I share my opinion of the book. I'm actually not very good at, I mean, maybe I am, but I've always thought of myself as not terribly good at doing any kind of book review, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do a segment on it every month so I can practice sharing about what I learned and think about. I like to take some time, at least a day after I've finished listening to a book, and think about the book. Like I have another book that I already downloaded into my Audible library, but I really didn't want to start listening to it until I had a chance to marinate on on this book. Sorry, I just got a text that came in from my daughter saying something about her car having a shaking problem. So I don't think she is in it right now. I think she's just talking about maybe some issues with her car. So we will check in with her after I finish my book review. And let's just make sure really quick. Oh my gosh, my car was having a shaking problem for a little bit. Then my back tire just, holy crap, her back tire exploded. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pause and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Sorry for the interruption, the commercial break. But yeah, so my daughter was driving back from something. I don't know if she was on the highway and her tire looks like it freaking exploded. Like there is no tire left on the car. Anyway, she's fine. She's gonna call AAA in the morning and have it towed to the Chevy dealership. We're not gonna mess around and get them to fix everything up and get her all new tires. Whew, that was stressful. Okay, so we're back. She's fine, and we're gonna continue here. So The Bell Jar, classic novel. And this is my first really introduction to Sylvia Plath. I had read a couple of her poems, but and knew a little bit about her life, but not a lot. So this has been really wow, like diving in head first to what Sylvia Plath was capable of. So, what the book is, it's a semi-audio autobiographical story of the character Esther Greenwood, who's a young woman struggling with depression and mental illness. And I didn't really pick up on that in the beginning. For me, it seemed like it was an all of a sudden thing. But again, the I'm not very experienced in picking up on a lot of the literary hints and stuff like that yet. I'm sure I'll get better as we continue to do this, but so Esther, the character, is trapped in this like suffocating world, it feels like, and she feels disconnected from everyone and everything. Sounds like isolation to me, like a mental kind of isolation feeling. And so the book sheds a lot of light on mental health care in this time. And it is, wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. You know, it's about when they were doing electric shock treatments and stuff. And it sounded like the character had one experience with that didn't go great. It's almost like I want to listen to the book again. Now that I've gotten to the end, it's like I want to listen to it all over again so I can hear some of those hints that I didn't get the first time. And I think that the book is definitely good enough to listen for the second time, like immediately afterwards. But as someone who's been through my own mental health journey that I continue to battle with, one that intersects with sobriety, stroke recovery, anxiety, I found that the bell jar was really something that I could understand. It's almost like I could empathize with this person, with this character, even though it's quite a bit darker and heavier of a road that this character's on. It still reminds me of just how isolating it can feel when you're battling inside your own head. And so in the book, um, Esther Sorry, Esther. I'm so like, I'm going in two directions. I'm like, my daughter's tire exploded and Esther Greenwood. I feel like I'm having my own mental breakdown right now. No, okay. So Sylvia Plath, from what I understand, dealt with severe depression throughout her life. So, at the end of the book, there's like, some additional information about Sylvia Plath and her life and her marriage and her mental illness and her marriage and all of that stuff. I think I already said that. In the book, she references the bell jar as this symbol of being trapped in isolation. And I couldn't help but relate to that, but yet it made me really uncomfortable how the way that they treated that back then was even, it felt like they drive you even more towards mental illness. That's what it felt like. It wasn't like, um, and maybe it wasn't like this everywhere, but every time I've seen or heard anything about mental illness back then, the treatment for it, the folks that were in mental health care that worked at these asylums and stuff like that, it just, they don't paint a picture of treatment the way that it is now. Treatment from people who actually care, from people who think that you can be restored to sanity, people who don't think that you're a lost cause. That's what I get from all of these stories on mental health from back then. Today, it's like we have so much access to therapy, medication, and a compassionate approach to mental health. I know that there's a lot more work to do, but the stigma around mental health now, although not great, not as good as it should, as good, as improved as it should be, it's come a long way. And so this metaphor of the bell jar itself, she talks about she's trapped under a bell jar and completely isolated from the world, unable to connect with others, and she's suffocating in her own thoughts. So there's times when she like says things like she opens her eyes like there's a doctor in the room, or she's going through these different experiences, and she's always talking about how she sees the people that she's talking to. And before she even mentions the bell jar, she references her vision of the world is she starts painting this picture of how it's almost like she's looking through glass, like a hazy glass. And I thought that that was interesting. The words that she uses are just astounding. Though that's another reason why I could listen to the book again, because the way the word choices that she uses, just a simple adjective to explain a simple idea, she just finds the most like profound word to explain, and instead of explaining in a whole sentence what it is that she's experiencing, she finds like the perfect word. And it's just beautiful. It really is. Her writing is absolutely beautiful. Um, So, for those of us who experience depression, anxiety, addiction, this metaphor of the bell jar probably hits close to home. I never thought about it that way, but when I started hearing the way that she was explaining how she was seeing the world around her in this hazy way, almost like looking through glass, and yet being isolated from it, cut off from the world, unable to break free from that self-destructive thinking. It makes sense to me. So, in recovery, whether it's from mental illness, addiction, or any kind of life altering experience, one of the first steps in mental health care is to break out of isolation. And that's why I find it so. I talked about it yesterday about the healing that comes with the love that we find in fellowship and connection. And that these mental illnesses, I talk about this in the area of alcoholism, the very thing that you're trying to battle and you're trying to recover from is the thing that's keeping you from recovering, you know? It's just fascinating that as many people do actually get help. Um, so, being able to find fellowship and connection, like programs like AA or going to therapy. I went to addiction therapy for 2 years when I first got out of detox. And I think that if I were to look at it from the aspect of having a bell jar over me. And these are the things that started to lift that bell jar and started to make me feel like I was actually breathing again, breathing in fresh air and hope, and that I wasn't suffocating inside my own stale thoughts. Because um, if I don't seek that connection outside of myself, that's all I've got. I don't have any way to grow or have any kind of fresh perspective. So that's how today the focus is on getting people connected, like sharing stories, lifting each other up, finding community. Group therapy is like a big deal now. And I didn't hear a lick about that in this book. I didn't hear a single thing about group therapy. There were several people that she crosses paths with in the book, in the facility that she's in, but none of them are really helping one another. There is one woman that talks to the character about the suicidal thinking and that kind of thing. And when I listened to that part of the book, it's almost like I felt like that character was not really sick. I felt like she was not really suicidal. It came across to me as if she was trying to connect with the character more than she was actually mentally ill. Until, I don't want to give anything away, that is my idea of what I thought was happening with that character changed immediately later in the book. So, one of the things that stands out in the bell jar is that cold, almost clinical way, not compassionate way that Esther's mental health issues were treated. She's not given many options. The idea of a compassion centered care is just not, there's not at all, none of that, none of that. And reading about that experience really made me feel so incredibly sad for people from that day that were ill, because today mental health is as much health as our physical health. And I'm actually, there's a 5K that's happening this coming Saturday. And it's called the Live for Lane Foundation. And it's a foundation that was started because there was a young football player at Dominion High School who committed suicide. And so they started this foundation in order to educate, and they focus a lot on Dominion High School, but educate the community on mental health. And their purpose is to educate people that mental health is, like I said, as much health, as much important, as much of importance to our health as physical health. So there is a lot more awareness now with therapy and medication and these community-based programs. We have more tools in our toolbox, whether it's like, oh my gosh, cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, support groups. There's just so much that I think we do for folks today. And unfortunately, it's still not enough. Um, but sorry, this is a mess. I'm a mess today. Um, I also think how I wonder, like, how would have Sylvia Plath been in this day and age? Would she have been able to find the healing that she needed or not? And that's neither here nor there, I suppose, as far as thinking about what could have happened. But at least we have it today, because there's many more Sylvia Plaths in the world. Maybe not a literary genius like she, but people that are very, very ill and are getting the help that they need. So that's why it's important. That's why I like to talk about mental health openly. And I don't mind coming on here and doing an episode and being all over the place. And if people judge me, they don't have to listen, right? But we can't allow the stigma to trap us in that bell jar. The bell jar is really a book about isolation, how isolating mental illness can be, and the importance of care and empathy and connection. I think that it's an important book for people that, I don't know, people that are pursuing mental health care today. Um, I think it's an interesting read for them to really see how far we've come and how debilitating it is for folks that don't get the correct help that they need. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm just going to stop there because it's been quite a day. And, other than this morning and with my daughter's tire, I slept the entire rest of the day. And I think it's because I'm going to bed too late, or it could be a new medication that I'm taking that they said it's going to make me tired, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm just going to end. I'm just going to end because I'm going nowhere. So thank you. I want to say thank you for being nice to me, because I just was reminded this morning when somebody wasn't nice to me, how many people are nice to me and how many people care about me. And and want to work on themselves. And yeah, that's all. Okay, I really am going to stop. Thanks for listening. Love you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.